Hello everyone, Exports here, and welcome to the 8 Days of JoJo, or JoJomas. I'm kind of conflicted on the names here, so I guess I'll decide while uploading. For the 8 days leading up to Christmas and on Christmas Day, we're going to take a look at a main JoJo from the series JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and I'll give you guys my favorite moment and least favorite moment from that character. This is heavily inspired by Tekken 101's Bleachmas, so if you guys want to see a very similar thing, but in the Bleach universe, you guys can go over to his channel, because that's kind of where I got the idea for this. So for today, the first day of JoJomas, we're going to be taking a look at Jonathan Joestar. We're going to go in order. So on Christmas Day, we're going to be taking a look at Gappy, Josuke Higashikata from Part 8. So we're just going to go in order. And yeah, Jonathan Joestar. Let's talk about this guy. So Jonathan being the first main JoJo in the series, everyone says he's kind of the worst main JoJo, and I could definitely get behind that just because we didn't see a whole lot of them. And, you know, a lot of the main JoJos are very reacting characters. You know, they don't really have their own motives, except for a few exceptions. So, you know, Jonathan is definitely a very reacting character. You know, when we first met him, we didn't really see any goals or aspirations that he had. And really, he was just reacting to Dio for most of Phantom Blood, just trying to stop him from Dio's goal of essentially taking over the world. So I definitely like Jonathan a lot. I think he's a great character, but he's definitely not my favorite JoJo or anywhere near that. But for my favorite moment, we'll start with favorite moment of Jonathan Joestar, was in literally his last scene when he was sort of accepting death and he was hugging Dio, and he was like, alright, like you said, we might share the same fate. And they died on the boat together. Well, not together, Dio didn't die. Dio took his body because he's an asshole. But yeah, Jonathan was just, you know, he was really accepting of Dio. And even through all the shit Dio did, all of the friends that he killed, like Dyer and everyone, and just all the shit that Dio put him through, killed his own father, you know, he hugged him in the end. And he died accepting it, and you know, maybe even forgiving Dio in a sense. Probably not, but you know, I just thought, you know, Jonathan was a great character, and that was a very great moment from him, and my personal favorite, because I mean, a lot of the fight scenes were cool, all of his overdrives and all of his combat scenes, like the Joestar Mansion fight, all of that was great, but I really don't think it compares to his final moment. And now for my least favorite Jonathan moment, and I think it's gonna be, you know, Jonathan really doesn't have any terrible moments. There's never a part where I'm like, oh, Jonathan, I fucking hate you as a character. You know, really the only part I would get, like, upset at Jonathan was when Dio first turned into a vampire, and for, like, half the episode and a couple chapters in manga format, Jonathan was just kind of, like, frozen in fear, and he wasn't really doing anything. It was just like, Jonathan, do something. Like, react to Dio, you know, and, you know, really, Speedwagon had to shoot him, you know, because Jonathan was just standing there frozen in fear with a gun pointed. And then badass Speedwagon saved the day, but not really. So, and also when Dio pulled out the knife and he was like lunging at Jonathan for a good amount of time, Jonathan just stood there with the handcuffs on. His own father had to jump in and get stabbed in the back. So I think Jonathan was a good character, and this is kind of like a cop-out because I don't think he really has any bad moments, but this was probably my least favorite moment from him. It wasn't even that long of a moment either. It was just him, and it's understandable too, because like this person's turning into a vampire before your eyes, so it's understandable, but that's definitely my least favorite moment from Jonathan. It was when Dio was first turned into a vampire, and you know, he was just kind of frozen, and he didn't do anything, and it had major consequences of his own father dying and just a bunch of people in that one scene suffering. But then later we saw that Jonathan was fully capable of just manhandling Dio, so I kind of wish he did it in that exact moment, but if he didn't, you know, we wouldn't have had all the build-up and all the dramatic scenes like the death of his father and all of that. So there's not really a lot when it comes to Jonathan. You know, he's a good character, he has a lot of good moments, and like a lot of his fight scenes were great. You know, those were a lot of good moments from him too, like Bruford versus Jonathan. That was a really good fight as well. How he used so much hormone, it literally reversed Bruford back into a regular human. Obviously he was dying, but it like transformed him back into a human from a zombie. So Jonathan is a good character, but he's nowhere near my favorite JoJo, and I think he's just alright. So that was the first day of the 8 Days of JoJo, or 8 Days of JoJomas. And so all of the days leading up to Christmas, we're going to be taking a look at all the main JoJos, and obviously there's going to be a lot more material for the later JoJos to talk about. So yeah, these videos are going to be longer, and Jonathan was just kind of the introduction to the series. And tomorrow we'll be taking a look at Joseph Joestar on the second day of JoJomas. So thank you guys for watching the video, and I hope you enjoyed. I kind of wish I had like a more Christmas themed like setting, but whatever, it's fine.